Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with...
It's me, Grant.
And we're here to do another one of our little movie things. We went and saw Ghost in the Shell, and two interesting perspectives here, because I'm a fan of the Ghost in the Shell anime. Haven't read the manga, but I'm a fan of the anime. And Grant is Ghost in the Shell-less.
Yeah, I've seen the anime a couple of times. It's never really fully registered with me. But, you know, I enjoy... Visually, it's very pretty, so...
So what we've just learnt, folks, is Grant doesn't like anything cerebral. Right. Whee! I'm joking. So we both went to see the first live-action version of Ghost in the Shell. Now, before we proceed to do our little reviews... And I don't think we're going to go into spoilers with this. I think we're just going to stick with this one as a review, folks. So if you don't want spoilers, don't panic. Not going to give any away. One thing, though, I do want to touch upon before we get into it, because if we don't talk about it, we're just filthy heathen racists, is the whitewashing controversy over this film.
Let's get into that.
Where do you sit on this?
I thought they handled it very well. It's such a non-focus of the film that I don't think it's particularly relevant to the story. I can see why people get upset about this kind of thing. But for me, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, without trying to sound callous, because I am a man of white skin, and therefore I'm just a privileged fucktard. According to most people recently.
That is the box you tick on the censorship, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the,
Yeah.
I can't speak about any of this because I'm fucking white. The film deals with some very interesting themes, and one of the themes is identity.
Yeah.
And without going into spoilers, like we said, wouldn't, the fact plays in very well in this film. I think, with Scarlett Johansson as the titular role of the Major. Now, there is a great diverse cast in as much as they come from different countries, different ethnicities, and they all work well together in the unit. And although they've made the city a non-disclosed city, there's no name given to the city. It's just a city that they're in that looks very kind of Neo-Japan, Neo-Tokyo-esque.
It's very Blade Runner-esque, isn't it?
Yeah. That it does seem to be set in Japan, but there are people from all over.
Well, the idea of nationality in this doesn't seem to be too prevalent.
Exactly. It's meant to be... I think the film was trying to deal with... We are in a universal world now.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that I looked at it. So would it have been nice if the role of the Major went to a Japanese lady? You have to also understand the Major is cyborg. It's only her brain that is human. The shell, she's the ghost.
Exactly. It's
shell
manufactured.
Is manufactured. Yes. And we'll go, we might go into spoilers right at the end of the video with a couple of things to kind of maybe put a full stop on what we're discussing here. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Grant, but I think this is a crusade which people feel if they go on, it makes them a human being.
Yeah, it's social justice warrior.
Yeah, there's nothing new. This film hasn't done anything different that hundreds of other films have done in the past. Whereas this actually plays, like I said, it plays in very well to the theme of the movie, and, well, one of the themes of the movie, which is identity.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so with that said...
Elephant in the room has been dealt with.
Yeah, whatever. Fucking SJs. So let's deal with the actual film itself. So I'll take the lead on this because, I'm more of a Ghost in the Shell person than yourself. But it's going to be very interesting. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see your perspective, Grant, because you're, not that much into the series. Whereas I've gone through like Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, Ghost in the Shell Innocence, Ghost in the Shell 2, Ghost in the Shell Arise.
So you can give me some context then.
So, yeah. But first and foremost, visually, I think this film looks spectacular from a visual film point.
Good, yeah. Goodness gracious me, it's has wetter. They've outdone themselves this time. the production company, also famously made Lord of the Rings. I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes stuff that they've been chatting about, and there's just so much detail in this film visually, that you can just sit there and have it on mute and it'd still hold my attention.
It's one of those films where almost every scene, even if the scenes are juxtaposing against each other, you're in some slum area, and then the next you're in this amazing sort of unbelievable advertisement of a city where you have these 100-esque foot-high holograms advertising, and it's all advertising, which is really cool. All these are various billboards trying to sell you shit,
and it's all world building stuff as well. It all plays on the idea of enhancement and.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a world. You said the perfect word. This is a world where humans are becoming enhanced by technology. You can have an enhancement by the looks of it for near enough anything. You want better eyes, you get new eyes. You want better ears, you can get new ears.
You want a better liver for drinking?
Well, exactly. You want to build up a tolerance for alcohol so you can drink more. Bang! You can have an enhancement for everything. And Scarlett Johansson, of course, is full cyborg constructed body, who was in an accident, and they couldn't save her body, so they removed her brain and they placed it in the shell of a cyborg. And we already
very RoboCop-esque.
Yeah, kind of RoboCop-esque. She has a couple of issues, but basically they wipe her memory and reprogram her so that she can lead this team called Section 9, which is a sort of like
anti-terrorist.
Yeah, it's an anti-terrorist squad that is run through City Hall, shall we say. They answer to the mayor, I think he said, or the something like
Prime Minister or something.
Prime Minister, there you go, yeah. And we from there we'll literally skip a year in the future where Major is running this team. Now, I think there's some wonderful performances, not necessarily by Scarlett Johansson, and I'm a big, ScarJo fan. God, she can. And I know you filed for divorce, Scarlett. Call me.
Shameless there.
Yeah, this is just a desperate man with a desperate plea. But I think she plays the Major a little bit too flat. And if you've seen the animes, the Major is actually a very complex and emotive person, yes. And Scarlett kind of plays it a little bit too straight down the middle, and then has moments of amazing emotion when she starts to realize certain things, or when she's trying to discover things. And it all seems her performance seems to be a little bit repressed. I would have liked her to be a bit more expressive in her role.
Yeah, that seemed to be a bit of a directorial problem.
Well, you got Takeshi Kitano, who is a fucking legend, also known as Beat Takeshi to some people. But I've been a massive fan of Takeshi Kitano ever since Battle Royale, back in 2000. When I saw Battle Royale, and I just thought his performance in that was unbelievable. And I started to go and source as many Takeshi Kitano films as I possibly could, and just watched pretty much all of his work. And that guy is just, to me, he's amazing. And for the first, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the film, they literally just have him sat in a chair, saying the odd line here or there. And it's only in the last third of the film that he really gets to kind of shine a little bit.
Show why he's in the position he's in.
Yeah. Now, the character of Amaraki is very kind of stoic in the anime.
Yeah,
and it is quite a true representation, of the character, but because Takeshi Kitano is such an amazing actor, and because he is such a big deal, I mean, he's a big fucking deal. I would have just loved them to maybe have let him cut loose a little bit more.
Yeah, I think this seems to be a bit of a problem that I took away from the film. As visually great as it is, they seem so heavy-handed with the message and the visuals that they're trying to get across that the characters are the thing that takes a back seat.
I love the themes. I thought the themes of identity, the themes of belonging, possession, all those kind of themes that the film has. I thought they were fascinating, and I was absolutely riveted to this film. It's an hour 45. I've heard a lot of people say, God, it feels twice as fucking long. To me, I couldn't believe when the film ended. I was just like, holy shit, it feels like it's been going for like 45 minutes to me. It flew by, absolutely flew by, because I was actually...
No, it did for me too.
Really fascinated by the themes. I think some of the performances kind of really helped the film. I think Bateau, played by, is it Pilu Asbeck? I can't really pronounce Scandinavian.
I can't pronounce that name.
But I think it's Pilu Asbeck. I thought he made a brilliant Bateau. I could just see them taking him straight out of the anime and putting him into live action. I thought he did an outstanding job. I really liked the fact that his loyalty towards the Major, his loyalty towards Section 9, really kind of like shone through. I thought it was a good performance by him. A couple of bits of snappy dialogue. He had a nice couple of bits of compassion with him as well. And Juliette Binoche as the Doctor was pretty good as well. And we just saw little glimpses from the rest of the team, because the rest of the team weren't really that
not integral to the story.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of an expense at the a little bit of the character's expense here to push the story and the themes of the story, which is a shame. But it's almost like an origin film anyway.
Yeah, it does seem like it's trying to set up something.
Yeah. So it's like, I wouldn't justify it, and I'm not saying it's understandable, but I think the themes of the film were more important than necessarily the cast, which could be seen as a detriment.
Yeah, I mean, they'd spend pretty much every scene trying to drive home the themes. There's no kind of respite from these themes of identity and belonging and possession.
Correct. I agree.
It's prevalent in almost every second of the film.
But like I said, this is what actually had me hooked to the film.
Yeah.
Michael Pitt, who played the Kuzey, who's the villain of the film, he has this magnificent, eerie performance as Kuzey, who is a terrorist who's killing off members of this Hanaka company. They're the ones who produce the shell for the Major, and trying to find out what his motivations are, why he does it, and the dark pathway that leads the Major down.
Yeah, it's a cool little detective story.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed the fact that there were not that many action scenes. And even the big action scene at the end, because there's always a big action scene at the end, was actually not OTT. If people are aware of the Ghost in the Shell franchise and you've seen the trailers, you'll notice there is something in those trailers which is very indicative of the end of, the original Ghost in the Shell anime. But this is one of the things. There is so much source material that is used in this film. From the original Ghost in the Shell to the standalone complex to Ghost in the Shell 2, the director pulls from all these different sources, and I think puts it together in a very coherent, interesting, and fascinating story.
Yeah, at no point was I lost. I mean, I've only ever seen the anime, the original anime, Ghost in the Shell film.
Yeah.
So the other sources are out of context for me, but I noticed it was different. But if anything, I think they made a more coherent story for Western audience. Yes,
yeah, I think he did well to select what he did. I mean, some of the things he was pulling were simply aesthetic. Like the geishas and stuff like that. They were just simply aesthetic things. But there is a lot of source material here from the original Ghost in the Shell, and they put it together in a very good, fascinating way. Now, just want to jump into about 5 odd minutes of spoilers. So, what I will say is, just being through what we went through, would you recommend going and seeing this film, Grant?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even source material aside, it's a really visually, and technically well executed film. Sometimes the characters get a little bit left behind by the message and the visuals, but I definitely recommend it. Especially, I'd recommend going to see it in the cinema, because I think that's really where you're gonna have it done justice.
I absolutely would. I know this film's been getting a lot of... it's kind of like 50-50 at the minute, whether people like it or dislike it. And I gotta say, I think a little bit of the dislike towards the film is because of the inverted commas whitewashing, which is a shame, because I think this is a really competently put together film. I think it's got some amazing themes which are dealt with in a not too complex but not insulting manner. It takes you along on a very interesting journey, visually spectacular. Yes, I absolutely agree. It's a bit of a shame because Scarlett Jo wasn't the best as the Major. Could have done better, but I believe she's got the chops for it. So it's not like that. I just think maybe the direction of the Major could have been slightly better. But yeah, there's a great cast here which could have been utilised a little bit better. But I think Michael Pitt shined as Kuzey, the villain, and Pilo Asbeck really... he shone as Bateau. I thought he's fantastic as Bateau.
Yeah, my favourite character by far.
Yeah, and this go see this if you like the anime and you're open-minded enough to understand this is not going to be a like-for-like make of it. This is going to be a representation of it.
If this film succeeds in getting you to check out the original Ghost in the Shell, if you've never seen it before, then it's succeeded.
I would recommend Ghost in the Shell 1. And I'd recommend Standalone Complex. So I'd definitely recommend checking out those if you don't know anything about the Ghost in the Shell, but you do enjoy the film and you are interested in where the other sources come from. So yeah, I'd say check them out. Okay, so let's just jump into spoilers just very quickly indeed, because there's something that I want to discuss going back to the whole whitewashing piece. So if you're staying on now. Spoilers, because I want to finish off what I started at the beginning of the video. You have been warned. So, the reason why I'm not kind of like getting my back up about the whitewashing is because of the theme of identity and what I thought was actually a very clever ending to the film.
I was astounded, yeah.
Which was the fact that Scarlett Johansson was actually Japanese.
Yeah, which makes absolutely perfect sense.
She was a Japanese girl who, this, Hanaka company, or whatever they're called, took from the slums, literally destroyed her body, took her brain out, and implanted it into this cyborg. And that I think it was really purposeful that the cyborg wasn't Japanese because of the theme of identity. Because
you want to strip out, you don't even want the brain to recognise itself in the mirror.
Yeah, there's this theme that ran through the movie of whenever they wanted to perform some kind of maintenance or some sort of analysis on the cyborg body of the Major, the Major had to give permission.
Yeah.
She had to say, I am Major, and she had a fake name because her real name is, of course, that was the spoiler at the end of the film. Yeah. So she'd give the name which they implanted into her, and then she'd say, I give permission. And then later on in the film, when Juliette Binoche is meant to be terminating her because she's realising that she had another life, they stole her life, she says to her, which is really cool, and I thought it's fantastic, and I thought it's brilliantly delivered, we never needed your permission.
It's actually my favourite line in the film.
Yeah, because Scarlett Johansson is like, I am Major da-da-da, and I do not give consent to this, and she said, we never needed your permission. And I was just like, man, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. And so, yes, Scarlett Johansson's actual character, the brain inside of Scarlett Johansson is actually from a Japanese girl that's been placed in a completely different shell, a completely different body, due to the fact that it was this corporation which is now basically assuming property of her.
Yeah.
And she became their property. They owned her. And this goes alongside the other things of ownership and permission and, identity. And I think it was a very clever thing to do. And people are getting even more kind of angry about it. Oh, God, she was Japanese! And they've, fucking taken her away from her! I was like, I think you're missing the point of the film. I think you're missing the point of the theme of the film about the identity. And I actually thought it was a very clever, not so much a twist per se, but I thought...
No, but it explained out the concern that you could have.
Yes. Yeah, I think what it did was it just said it didn't matter what the shell was surrounding the body. It's what you are inside. It's who you are. It's the ghost. It's your soul. And she meets up with her mother, who is Japanese, and she finds out where she lives and stuff like that. And I just thought for the storytelling aspect, it worked very well. Now, if people want to get on their high kind of like horses about that kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe they just need to calm down a wee bit. But I think it worked well from a story perspective and what they were trying to tell. And I don't think the whole whitewashing malarkey influenced where this story is going. I think this was already predetermined how it was going to work out. So to me,
it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it was irrelevant whether Scarlett Johansson was white, black, Native American. It didn't matter. It was the fact that they had stolen this soul and placed it in this shell for property. Yeah,
it's a case of picking your battles with this kind of whitewashing controversy, because this isn't a film that's trying to say anything other than we've stolen the identity of this person and completely changed it. That is the whole point.
This whole other thing about ownership is these cybernetic enhancements that people are putting in, and people getting hacked. With this merger of personality and technology, where does one blur into the other? And I thought these themes were very, very well handled, very well dealt with, and to me, it kind of made sense, the ending. Well, it didn't kind of, it absolutely made sense. So I'm not trying to be callous, for people that disagree and think it was white, I'm not trying to be callous, I'm just seeing it, I'm just calling it the way that I personally saw it.
Yeah, I mean, in the film industry as a whole, it is still an issue.
Yeah, I absolutely
This isn't
agree.
the film to bring that up with.
Yeah, I think this is a film which had a genuine plan and a genuine direction, and it kind of needed to go in this direction for the story to work. So yeah, there we go. I think we can put a full stop into that. Like I said, I reckon go see it. Grant says go see it. It has been getting a little bit panned by the reviewers. Like I said, I think it's only like 49% of Rotten Tomatoes, but I actually think it's a highly enjoyable film. If you like sci-fi, if you like something a little bit cerebral, or if you're just a fan of the Ghost in the Shell franchise, I think it's absolutely deserving of a watch.
Yeah, definitely go check it out, especially at the cinema, because you'll get that full visual and sound experience that they spent a long time, perfecting.
And the sound is awesome, and the visuals are awesome. Right, well, there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description down below. Say goodbye, Gran.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching.
You take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Yeah, I still haven't seen Wolverine Origins, nor do I ever intend to. No, nor do I ever. Even though I know it's so bad, it's probably comical to watch, I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it. I think if I did it, something important in my brain would get pushed out.